I absolutely died when I saw this quote on Pinterest and absolutely had to use it for this spread. This is a brand new art journal that I just started. This is the very first project in my brand new book. Last week you saw the video of my friend Mandy and I going to the scrap exchange in Durham to get find new books to alter and make art journals out of. And so this is my very first project, and it's always sort of like a big deal to to get started in these journals. It's a very special. These journals are very special to me. I don't know. I get very attached to them, much more so than my canvas paintings. They're deeply personal, and they're not like groundbreakingly, like, intense, crazy, emotional. Like I'm not, deep or anything. It's not like that. It's just that there's something about art journaling that's just so different than working on a canvas. Just that, when you're all done, you're going to have a completed book. And I'm always been attracted to, and I love books. I love creating books. I love publishing books. And I love making these art journal out of upcycled, altered books. It's just like extremely rewarding to go through page by page and complete specific projects in them. And so like the maiden voyage first one is always particularly, important to me. So I've sprayed the background. I did, at the end of the last week's video, you could see Mandy and myself, we were prepping our journals with absorbent ground after putting the duct tape down the middle of them. And I did the duct tape, a different swatch of that down the center of each page to get started. And then I prepped the pages with absorbent ground. So you could really do watercolors, or if I was going to do acrylics, I was going to do gesso. So I started off by spraying with the Dilution ink sprays, which are both like a blessing and a curse. They're a blessing because they are vibrant and delicious and fun, and they're a curse because they never stop activating, like ever. So after I did the Dilution sprays, you saw me, I drew his face in with a blue Stabilo, and then I painted it in with just a skin color, and then again with gesso, and then again with a skin color on top. And now I'm adding some depth with some gelatos. Gelatos over acrylics are like my favorite way to shade. They're just buttery and they melt right under your finger. You can activate them with water, but I like to activate them with just the pressure of my finger. And they just make dreamy skin tones. You can do really light skin tones. You can do dark skin tones. I've done a whole video on that. And so it's a great way to add shading and depth. This is the first dude I've ever put in my art journals. And you know what? I freaking love him. And I think I'm going to do way more. I have to give a huge shout out to Esther Gilly because this is based on a character that she drew in one of the books that she's illustrated. So even though I use my book, How to Draw Fun Fab Fellas, to get the proportions and to see if I could get the right proportions, this is actually based on one of her illustrations. So after I get him all drawn and the gelatos all blended in with my finger, I do a little bit of drawing with my Stabilo, and you can see the lines there that are activated. And then I'm using my Mod Podge to seal all the layers underneath. And if you can hear that scratching, it's my cat. I can't wait. If I close this door, she either scratches on one side to come in, or then she scratches to go out. It's very amusing and also irritating. So once that Mod Podge layer has dried, I always switch to my Pitt pens because they're sort of like the gelatos in which you can do so much. Now, I know at first this looks a little scary. It looks a little garish. It's not quite blending out as much as I would like it to. But this is what we call the ugly stage, and it is inevitable no matter what medium you're using. If you are creating portraits and drawing faces, you always have to contend with the ugly phase. And so my way of dealing with that is I do another layer of Mod Podge again and just keep powering through. You just don't ever give up. And so it's also important when you're layering again, and no matter what mixed media you are working with, always dry your layers before adding another layer on top. That goes for watercolors, that goes for acrylics, that pretty much goes for anything. So after I get like the base coat on, I am going with my black Pitt pen to create details, just the scribble scrabble of like the beard and the eyebrow. I am going to be drawing in this journal. I've made a vow to myself to illustrate a lot more guys. It's different. I like that they're edgier and you have these like sharp lines and you can do these messy, gosh, the beard and the hair was just like, it's a raw and it's different and I like it. He's super cool. And I think like I can just foresee kind of flipping through the pages of this journal, and there's not that many. It's a huge book, page size wise, but I think there's maybe only about 12, projects that I can do in here. And I want to be featuring a lot more guys. I just think it's, like I said, kind of edgy and cool and different. And I'm excited to see where this new interest in drawing more guys kind of takes me. Ironically, there was text all under his face and it got completely covered up. And so now I'm using the text stamp to put text back over his face, which seems a little ridiculous, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I'm just putting there's like just a little cloud of gesso to make him really pop off the page. He looks a little ridiculous, like he's soaring. He's like this bodiless head that is soaring across the page, and it was at that moment that I picked up my phone and found that quote from Pinterest that said, "She's not looking for a knight, she's looking for a sword." And I thought of this hot guy kind of soaring to the rescue, and just the thought of having this like strong ass woman being like, "Oh no, I wasn't looking for you. But can I borrow your sword? Like I gotta go, bust some ass or like fight my own battles." I just thought that was like the coolest ever. I just thought that was the coolest ever. And so it was funny too, because when I looked up, I think I just put in Pinterest search, like, inspiring quotes. And that was like the first one that I saw. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, how perfect is this quote? I could not even paint that sword fast enough when I saw that quote. And I had this guy who could have been like a hot knight from whatever, ageless fantasy. Just thought that was so funny, and I like could not even get in there fast enough. It's also ironic. I've lately been kind of reflecting about the fact that my kids are really into fantasy. They do a lot of like Dungeons and Dragons. They play with my husband and his friend. They lead these like month-long games, and they're into like Warhammer. So there's a lot of like this kind of fantasy, sci-fi, like role-playing kind of stuff kind of in my life that I'm very aware of, but I don't really participate in, because that's kind of like my husband's thing that he does with the kids. I have 3 boys, if you don't know, and they're not into sports. They're all kind of big computer nerds and, into music and this kind of this geek Comic-Con nation, which I'm not making fun of, because I absolutely could not be prouder of them, and I love it, like genuinely. But I find myself not really becoming a part of it, even though it is also a very kind of artistic and creative scene and world. So this came at a cool time for me, because I've been kind of wanting to kind of get more involved, and this was just so appropriate with the sword and the guy, angle. So I look forward to doing more of these things and maybe helping illustrate some of their like adventures that they're doing. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about this new art journal. Got caught up with the, and so happily so, with the 100 Fun Fab Faces challenge that I was doing for 20 long and super fun, amazing weeks with my Facebook group and on Instagram and here on YouTube, and been having such a good, really fun time doing weekly full-length tutorials on that. But I really have missed just playing for me in my journal and letting go and not even teaching and just expressing myself. And I love that, like, I can't sell these. I could make prints or whatever, but like I like that there's duct tape smack down the middle of my page, and it just makes me happy. This whole process, yeah, it just makes me really happy. If you don't have an art journal and you don't know where to start, I would strongly recommend going ahead and maybe watching my last tutorial on how to find an all book that's appropriate for altering, and prepping those pages with gesso and or absorbent ground, or just paint if that's all you have, and just get started. It's a really satisfying and really fun and rewarding practice to keep up, and you can write in it if you want, or you can just paint. My last journal, I had no words anywhere in it. The one before that was very word heavy with a lot of quotes, and so this one I'm kind of bringing back some words. So yeah, here's that quote. I hemmed and hawed over making it look neat, and I just was like, you know what, this is my damn journal. I'm gonna make it in my own handwriting, and I'm just gonna throw it right across the page. She wasn't looking for a knight. She was looking for a sword. I just love this whole page, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you have any questions about my process, I am absolutely open to answering them in the comments section. I have a list of supplies that I love to use in the description box. I have a lot of fantastic courses at Awesome Art School on mixed media. I have a mixed media masterclass that I offer, which has a whole slew of amazing art projects in. If you want to learn more and you want to learn specifically these, the process that you see here, I use quite frequently, and I'm more than happy, would be delighted if you wanted to become a formal student and learn with me. It is my most favorite thing to teach. And for a final touch, I'm just taking a stamp pad and running it. I do this a lot. Kind of helps for me since I use a lot of black for outlining and whatnot. Taking it and dragging it around the edges of the page creates like a frame. It's like a visual frame. And I also make sure that I rub it quite on purpose across the texture and the, whatever little pieces, if there's collage under there, which I don't have on this page, but if there's any bumps and bubbles from the paint or the Mod Podge, I kind of like that stamp pad to actually pick that up, and it helps to bring a little bit of cohesiveness to the page as it kind of spreads artfully that black around it. And again, it creates like a framed around the whole edges as well. So if you want to see more fun projects, I would encourage you to subscribe. I have new projects out every week, and a slews and slews of tutorials that are a lot of real time, a lot of time lapses for inspirations. And I just want to thank everyone for being here and for watching today. I appreciate and love you guys so very much. If you want to join my Facebook group, I'd love to have you. Just search Awesome Art School when you get to Facebook, and I will be happy to let you in. I will see you guys on the flip side. See you on Instagram. You can tag me at Karen Campbell Artist, and I will be sure to find you. All right, you guys, talk soon. Have a great day.